Good weekend. That's a phrase.
I don't
Kirk.
want you to. You can't say that. We're not recording like almost to the weekend.
We
You sure?
are.
Thursday midday. Do you call that almost the weekend?
My daughters have off tomorrow. My son does not. So for them, it's a Friday. And I'm
Which means
taking any win I can get this week, Kirk. And so this is good weekend's eve.
well, top of the weekend's eve to you as well, sir.
And to you as well.
Should we talk to each other like this throughout the podcast today?
I think we should. Here's what's going to
We
happen
shall.
today, ladies and gentlemen. Here's what's on the docket. We are going to keep it light today. And we're going to keep it shorter than typical today. And we're going to do something we've done in the past, but differently. We're going to do an AMA. These come in and out of vogue online and with influencers and with podcasts. But every time we've done an AMA, as entertaining as it is, it's like the 80-20 rule, but for questions where 80% of what we get from you are almost Q&A questions. And then 20% are off the wall, very random, fun, funny, entertaining questions, which is supposed to be that is what an AME is more supposed to be. It's learning about things that is not the main topic. But because our core group of this audience is so into running, we can't help but just choose that opportunity to ask more running questions. So we are doing an AMA today, but we didn't ask you the questions.
Well, I want to interject with something.
You can.
I guess I'm not really interjecting, but so we've gotten a little bit of. I said we should keep it fun today, and not that we've been drab or serious or anything recently, but just being fun. Like if I'm out on a long run, like yes, I want to be taught something. That's what Training Tuesdays are often for. But I often just want company on my long run. Do you ever feel the same way?
Yeah.
I want company,
or a distraction.
Sure. But I got this. We've gotten a few messages, excuse me, from the last couple of weeks podcast saying like, "Hey, I'd like the insight to your own minds and brains and your own training." And I got a message from Scott. I won't say Scott's last name. Scott, you know who you are, but I appreciated his message. And this maybe this can be a guiding star for us when we're not sure what exactly we want to talk about that week. And it says, I know I'm late to the party, but just wanted to say that I really liked the style of last week's Training Tuesday, which also seemed to spill into yesterday's episode. I love the opportunity to learn about a new training principle and long-term try to figure out how best to implement it, which is what I usually get from Training Tuesday episodes. But these last two were more like episodes of the old Obstacle Dominator, where the specifics of the workouts and goals of the host always got me fired up to head right out the door and get to work. I get invested in you guys, and when I hear you're talking specifics about your own questions, training, racing goals, etc., the tangible nature of the conversation gets me pumped to push harder and now to see how I can get into some runs with faster people. Keep these episodes in the mix. They're good stuff.
I
nice
like to hear and appreciate that sentiment.
I said the same thing. With that said, that's not what today really is. No. But I feel like when we do these random, we end up tangenting into maybe something of substance.
Yes.
But maybe not.
Yeah, but the purpose of today is not a Q&A from a different angle.
So, random question AMA generator from faculty.washington.edu. This is from an education system random question generator.
But also the best miling state in the United States right now.
Are they still?
I don't know. Okay, so already into the weeds, Kirk. I and we had talked on here in the past about how crazy fast running has become in general. And I had said at one point, 32 individuals broke 4 in the mile in the NCAA indoor a few years ago, and breaking 4 didn't get you to nationals anymore.
354 did it take?
354, like 2 or something.
Did you see what it took for the women?
And that's what I wanted to say, is that someone messaged me after the Tuesday episode. They're like, "Oh, you're about to get feedback about talking. I'm out of shape. I'd just like to break 4:30 in the mile." I hear some people aren't going to like to hear that. Mm-hmm. And my response to that was, do you know that wouldn't have got me to indoor nationals racing against
as a woman,
as a woman right now? 4:27 or something, was it?
I think it was 428.
428. You had to
Yeah.
break 428 to get to nationals as a female. You had to break 355 in the mile to make it to nationals.
As an 18-year-old woman, many of them, and 19.
Outrageous. And
Oh,
the stat
outrageous.
was like 6 years ago or something, 5 years, 4, something like that. 32 individuals ran sub 4 and it didn't get you to the national meet. This year, 25 individuals broke 4 in the mile in the Big 12 conference, Big 10, whatever you want to call it.
Hmm.
Just in that conference, sub 4 didn't even get you into the top 20 in your conference.
Unbelievable.
So anyway, just as a reminder, the running world's fast. And if you don't feel fast, well, in a different generation, you would have been. And as a final reminder, when we talk about our own times, we are so painfully aware of how we stack up against the truly fast people. So please don't ever think we ever brag about our times. Even when we say something like, I did this and I thought it was awesome. Like I ran blank this season and I'm pumped about it. It's because it's for us, not because we have any disillusions of being truly fast in the running world.
I just went down the list.
It's
It might have
depressing.
been this morning on the toilet.
Okay.
I don't recall. Popped up. I looked, and I think the 5K for women was like 15:28.
Yeah. 15:25,
well.
I think.
Or 15:20 something. I was like, I think I would have missed it my last outdoor crack
Right.
this year. Yeah.
I never would have made it.
It's unbelievable. Men's is like 13 high teens, 18, 20. So anyways, okay, you get the point.
Yeah.
We're all slow. By the way, I was looking 2 things on that. One, I was watching some of the conference races and watching the Big 12 or whatever it is. And it was really bizarre. I actually couldn't calibrate what meet I was watching, seeing like Oregon and Washington and then a Wisconsin in the mix. And I was like, oh, what meet is this? What invitational is this? And it didn't even really click that that's our conference.
So weird seeing Oregon in the Big 10
or Washington.
or Washington.
Yeah. Anyways,
anyway,
that doesn't matter.
It is freeing in that we can just all let go of saying, I want to be fast for like a runner and just, I want to improve myself. That's all there is left. Because this train has left the station. It used to be, I knew I was doing okay if I could make the Olympic team as a female in my event. And then it was qualify for the Olympic trials in my event. And now it's, I'd be running fast right now if I could have a chance of qualifying for indoor nationals as a female. Like it just keeps stepping, the goalpost keeps moving for me. And so it's just time to let it go. Focus on ourselves.
Now I still have 2 more things.
We're not even going to get to an AMA.
Okay. I was watching with my wife in bed last night. We watched a couple races or something. She actually enjoys them, which I appreciate. But doing that, and we were analyzing form, or I was, and then forcing my analyzation on her. And this is to say, you don't need to be proportionally gifted or of any sort of body type, long-legged, short-torsoed human being to run fast. I started looking at these guys and girls who are like, some of them are more proportionally disproportionate than I am, like torso to leg ratio. And you look at the turnover it takes some of them and the height. There's a guy that's like 5'4" running 13:40 in the 5K. You know, it's like, and you look, and not everybody is the Cooper Tier or the, Yara Nagoose. It's like there's people out there turning over at 10 strides per minute faster than the leader in 6th place that's running astronomically fast. But you look at a move, you're like, that guy doesn't look like he's built to run fast. And they are. Like, your inseam doesn't matter. Your height doesn't matter. Your weight, even to an extent, doesn't matter. I just was looking, I was like, oh my God, they don't all look like the quintessential runner, yet these people are freaks.
Yeah.
Did you watch the guy who paced Grant? Oh my God, Grant, not the Harvard Graham Blanks. The guy who paced Graham Blanks through like 2,200 meters of the 3K, and I mean, if his inseam's 28 inches, I'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Anyways, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Your build doesn't matter.
Watching the USATF indoor championships, Nia, is it Akins? Why am I blanking on this? Nia Akins. She won. She heel strike. She was heel striking in spikes. Like not midfoot, like behind midfoot, and ran 2 flat or something. We can just dispel the notions that we're not built for whatever. Let's just run our best. You don't need to try to fit yourself into any box. There are a lot of people out there that don't fit the running box right now who are running elite times.
Maybe I should feel a little bad talking about appearance, but I am telling you, like, these people that you don't think you look like a runner or perform like a runner, even have the biomechanics of a runner. There are people running around that track so fast with not the perfect God-given physical specimen. It's all about heart, engine, and efficiency for your body. There's people out there doing it. The other thing is I was also on the treadmill watching racing last week while I was doing an incline session, but I was in my warm-up. I was running flat. And it doesn't appear, you can't appreciate how fast these people are running when you watch it on video. Even their turnover, you can't appreciate. So I picked up my treadmill I was at 3%, but I picked it up to like 11 miles an hour to see if I could match the cadence of these people running the 5K. I was still so far behind how fast they were actually turning over. And you can't really appreciate the beasts that these guys and girls are just from like the output. Like they are riding the line so hard. And I couldn't even match the turnover on the treadmill for a short period of time. So it's hard to appreciate the speed they're moving at when you're watching it on video is all I'm saying.
Yeah. And it looks that way in real life. When you finally run into a pro runner in real life, they just look different. This is turning into story hour. I won't even say it's not, but I will never forget the late David Torrance out in Tahoe. He came to his first obstacle course race at the Spartan Race World Championship at Tahoe. He failed the monkey bars as we came through the festival at like 2 miles. They were ice covered, and I made it through and started up the mountain, and he finished 30 burpees, which he'd probably never done a burpee in his life. And he ran up the trail past me like he was running a high knees stride, like accelerating before a workout. His pop off the ground was so special. His ground contact time was so special. His knee drive was so special. And we were running at douche grade. We've all run out of the village in Tahoe. Not all, but like any OCR athlete probably has done that at some point. We know what that looks like. And he was running what I would call my 5K stride up that douche grade, up out of the village after having done his first burpees of his life. And he just looked different. And you realized that's the difference between a sub 4 miler. He was a US champ, I think 2-time US champ at that point. And he looked it. And you just felt inadequate. And it's just special to see. They're so good.
So good. Fighting for 29s and 30s on my 200-meter repeats to finish with lots of rest, and then watching Graham Blanks come through in 30 in his 3K, and they're like relaxed and somehow not fighting for anything. And it's just, it's sickening, folks. All right. Anything else?
No. Ask me anything, Kirk. Let's get to it. 13, 14 that took to get us here, and that would almost not get you into NCAA 5K indoor.
And as of now, you would not get into it. All right. First question. I just have to, I can't pick and choose. I just hit the, I said,
we're answering no matter what.
What is your theme song?
Oh,
Who Let the Dogs Out?
When I think of this, I think of like, what's your walkout music? If you're a baseball player, they play it as you walk up to the plate, or if you're a fighter, as you walk up to the ring. And so what would that be? And I think I would choose Separate Ways by Journey.
Can you sing it for me?
Nope.
Separate Ways by Journey?
Yes.
I can't think would I know it if I heard it?
Yeah.
Why Separate Ways by Journey?
It just feels like it should be playing in the background of a training montage in a bad 80s action movie. And if I had my way in life, that's the way my life would look. I would live an 80s action montage every day of my life. All
right. For those of you who don't know, I'm waiting for this to queue on YouTube here, and we're going to just give them a little snippet.
You're going to play it?
Well, I'm curious. I imagine most people who aren't ancient don't know this song. And so
it's from should.
Ring a bell, folks. Of all the songs in the world?
Yeah, whenever I hear that, I feel like I am in the training montage of an 80s action movie, and that mindset cannot you can't put a price on that. That's how
You're,
I want to walk out.
you're punching cow carcasses in a big refrigerator.
Yep.
Huh.
Anger dancing, all of it.
That's a good one.
This answer would have been different in college when I was trying to make a baseball team. We all had our walk-up songs picked out. At the time, mine was Shipping Up to Boston by
Okay.
Dropkick Murphys.
Yeah.
It would have changed at each stage of my life. But right now, for probably since Colorado, like the last decade and a half, that would be my theme song.
Oh, there's a couple going on in my head. But I think of what really like pumps, like when it comes on, like something, it's like an extra boost that I didn't know was coming.
Okay.
And it's going to catch you. The words wouldn't make sense because it doesn't describe, neither of these describe me, but the song Madness by Muse,
Mm-hmm.
the way
Are
it
you going to sing it for
builds,
us?
no. The way it builds, I find myself just on it. And if it could be like the last 30 seconds of that song where he's just ripping. And there's also a song called Houdini by Foster the People. And it's got just this sort of electro beat that just is like fun, but yet aggressive. And it makes me just want to move. It would be one of those two.
Okay. Well, for my money, Muse might be the greatest stadium rock band of all time.
Dude, they can jam.
And stadium rock is a great theme song of any sort.
It's one of those two songs. But if you listen to the words, like to your Journey song, Someday Love Will Find You or something they're singing about.
It will, Kirk.
Some soft crap. Okay. Just
my backup would be I'm Not a Star by Rick Ross.
Yeah, everybody knows you're a Rick Ross lover.
Yeah.
What song comes on that just like gets you, if it comes on and it hits you right, you're in a quality session, which one will give you a boost?
Red by The
Ooh.
Game. Just like the beat hits correctly and everything about it works. That was probably the most recent one. I was downstairs working out and it was on, and we have it Pandora playing on the TV. And Lisa's like, "Oh, I can run to this one." I'm like, "Yep, as can I."
I thought you were talking about the Chevelle song.
No.
I was like, well, I could see it as well. All right.
I mean, yeah, but Red by The Game.
All right.
That'll work.
Next question. I'm not going to like all these, so we can gloss over them. What's on your bucket list this year?
It is difficult for me not to answer this from a running perspective.
But you can.
I want to go out to the Seattle North American Championship.
Huh. Not West Virginia.
I would like to do that, but that's less buckety because that encompasses many things that I'm not good at.
Which would be what?
Recovering and performing again the next day, and high volume of racing. If West Virginia were the North American Championship, same answer. But Seattle called to me last year, and I just want to.
You've
Bucket
raced
list
well
isn't
there.
intended to necessarily be done.
You had a great race there in 2017. Then you fell off the last rig like an idiot, and you started conservative. But you were actually racing very, very well there.
It's the only rig I ever failed.
And it wasn't like crazy difficult. I mean, it wasn't easy, but
it was a rule misunderstanding, and then I got caught dead hanging and spinning on a baseball. Yeah.
Because Kent failed it that day. Killian failed it that day.
Yeah, Kent and I hit it at the same time.
And you both failed it.
Yeah, but I stayed on it too long. It was anyway. I've raced there well before, and I still have this itch to scratch to see how watching Brian Gowiski race this past week was exciting for me, and I do want to feel it against the current field. So that would be on my bucket list race wise. Still that Seven Sisters Skyline race in Ireland, but maybe I'll just stop there for now. Running bucket list. That's the one I'd love to kick this year. And it is currently on the same weekend as a race for Braden, a like 50-50 race. It's not a mandatory race, but he might do it.
Okay. Sweet.
What about you?
One I think is going to not get the approval of the people.
Is it
for sure.
hunting related?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And then the other is running related. The non-running related is this is a peek behind the curtains, but I spend far too much of my brain power and time thinking about a deer. And this deer I've named Tubes because this deer's antlers come out of its head and they're so large it looks like these big protruding tubes. And he's still alive, and I have been trying to play chess, figuring out where and how this thing lives, and I am like kind of serial sniper, like putting hours and hours of time into trying to figure this thing out for next year. So I know it's not a popular one for most people, but I got a lot of brain power and time going into this thing.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
that's one of my biggest goals.
if you're not a hunter, you sound like a serial killer.
Correct.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. I mean, I've spent hundreds of hours in this piece of property. I combed through it. I mean, every square yard of it. I think I understand what this deer is doing. But anyways, that's for a different type of podcast. The other thing is, I've realized that this marathon thing is a bit bigger and scarier because of the unknown and the bucket list of putting everything into it and finding out where I'm really at. And I can't answer that question for you today is something I think I put off for a bit because it was inconvenient and I was a little scared of it.
Mhm.
And so that is huge on my bucket list is just committing and competing. And so those two things, one comes early in the year, one comes later in the year. So it's perfect. That's it.
If you had to commit to the marathon right now,
Yeah.
of any marathon on earth, you had free entry and it worked for your schedule, which one would you choose?
I love the June timeframe, actually. I like that we finally get open running and some decent temperatures, and there's this energy that builds throughout the spring and fitness that seems to come along with it. So I would prefer to build to, if it was May, it'd be better. But I like the time frame of the early, like the spring, early summer marathon. So this actually works for me.
What course? You could run any course.
I don't know what I don't know,
Hmm.
I guess. The idea of Boston is appealing mostly because of the allure, and I want to see how bad is it really
Yeah.
with the downhill tricky start and then the hill in the back. I'm not concerned about flat, fast, and a tailwind. I'm more like curious about that because it's been so built up. So I'm going to say Boston, sure.
Okay.
Haven't qualified, believe it or
No.
not. Yeah. What would you run?
I would do one of, if I have to run a road marathon, I would want to run an iconic fast course. I don't want hills. I don't want to find the challenge of Boston. If I want to be miserable on the roads, I'll just join you for a run. If I'm going to have to do it, I'm going to choose the fastest. So I'm going to choose Berlin, Valencia, maybe Dubai, something foreign so that it's exciting to be on the road and something proven fast.
Did you say London?
I did not say London.
London's proven
I
fast.
would do London.
You want to
It'd
pick
probably
one of
be
those, like
Berlin. Let's just say Berlin.
one of those like Hunter McIntyre net downhill 3,000 feet of gain. They
Heck, just
bust
do
you to
Charleston.
they bust you to the top of the mountain and let you run, and somehow
Yeah.
it's still like Boston certified and U.S. or world major certified course. You're like,
Right.
I'm losing 2,000 feet of gain. How's that possible?
No one knows. I still don't fully understand their course certification process. How some of these get certified and some don't.
Me either. But there's quite a few net downhills if you want to go fluff
Yeah,
up
there are.
the Strava stats.
And I would, honestly, if they allow it, I'll go put a fake marathon time in my profile.
Um,
And I'd be an Alpha Flies for the record.
It's like me running a 906 2-mile. Showed up on my Strava, and I did, and I ran it at a negative 10% grade or something the entire way, like that.
That
Still on
sounds
there.
as bad or worse to me than running a track 2 mile.
No, you let gravity do the work. It was fun.
Oh, it sounds so brutal.
And that was at the end of a 2-hour long run. It was just like gravity. I'm telling you, it was a steep hill. Just keep your feet under you. Anyways, that does not count.
That's a special effort. I don't care what you think. That is 908 downhill is not free speed. There's free speed in it, but the effort is not free.
Still my Strava PR in the 2 mile. All right, next question.
Next question.
What's your favorite candy?
Ooh. So you know this about me, but I'm not a huge sweet person.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I don't dislike sweets. It's that I'm not wired to seek that. I seek salt. So I don't reach for candy, but if it's in front of me, it disappears. So I like Reese's. I like Snickers. But if I could, I really like Swedish Fish.
Oh, those are so unsatisfying because once
I
you
know.
have one, you just keep eating them, but you don't feel any satiety. It's terrible.
But if I could only have one candy for the rest of my life, it would
Mm-hmm.
probably be a Snickers bar.
Okay. Snickers bar. I'm a dark chocolate guy. Salty dog who chocolate. A little salted dark chocolate. See, fantastic. Easy answer.
Lisa's a
Just a,
dark chocolate girl.
just a square or two after dinner, and then you don't have to eat a whole bag of gummy bears to feel like you got what you need.
I've never done that, but I get what you're saying.
Is there a candy you hate?
I don't know. I probably like Red Hots or something with heat to it.
Yeah, what's the point? Like black licorice? What the?
I would take that before like Mike and Ike's Hot or something like that. Some of those like hard, chewy candies are probably my least favorite. Stuff you would put on a gingerbread house would probably not be on my list.
The spice to it, yeah.
Yeah, whatever that thing is, you find it in old people's glass jar of candy.
Anything with anise or anise or whatever it is, which is in the
Yep.
which is in the black licorice. Like I'd rather take sandpaper to my tongue than have to eat like a Twizzlers that's black licorice. Ugh. All right, next one.
Next one.
This is an interesting question. What incredibly strong opinion do you have that is completely unimportant in the grand scheme of things?
Oh, we were just having a conversation about this the other day. Oh, I do not think these are foolish.
You hate dogs? Remember that one?
I don't hate dogs.
You said that.
I hate when people can't control their dogs in
That's
public.
fair. That's okay.
I have no use for dogs. It doesn't mean I hate them. I have an allergy to most pets. Okay, so I have two pet peeves, and both occur when referees stop calling fouls or penalties in certain situations. Like basketball, when the ball is on the ground and people are just allowed to like dive on top of each other for it. You can't do that standing up. Why would you allow it there? Football, things that happen in a pile that you don't allow. But my biggest thing is I think the concept of forward progress in football should be changed.
Okay. How it's changed to what?
To either both ways, where you can have negative progress where the defense can push you backwards, or nothing at all. No one's allowed to push anyone forward or backwards. Because right now in football, if you catch the ball moving forward and the defense stops you and then pushes you back, you get the ball back where you stopped gaining forward progress. But if your teammates push you forward from that spot, you get to keep gaining.
Mm-hmm.
So the defense is punished, but the offense is only rewarded. It's win or better win for the offense.
Yeah, it's an offensive-driven league. We like to watch.
Correct.
It.
And I can't
Yeah.
stand that type of rule in sports. So I guess all sports rules that only inherently reward the offense or the defense, but aren't officiated equally. And that impacts nobody's life on a day-to-day basis.
I mean, well, it just says it's unimportant in the grand scheme of things.
It is. That's unimportant. The concept of forward progress does not affect the way the world works. But I hate it.
That's fair. Does it actually bother you? Like when you're watching, like you'd be like, oh, like irks you?
Yeah, especially because it's been weaponized in the league now with offensive players getting behind someone and shoving them forward. And the defense is not allowed to do the same thing.
Huh. Speaking of football, Taylor Swift
Okay.
and Kelsey, it's so interesting to me. like there's a lot of fans out there, of course, of T Swift and the whole. Not she didn't ask for any of this attention, nor the focus of the games to put the camera on her, and people are just sick of it. And it's just so interesting to see people's, I don't know, reaction to a situation like that, and how the Facebook feeds light up with like just so the subject study of people is so interesting.
It goes to show that we have not progressed as a society at all since like
It's just so,
when the generations we look at and be like, why were people losing their mind over the Beatles? Why?
right.
Because you still are. You would have back then too.
Uh-huh.
You're obsessed with celebrities. Get over it.
Heaven forbid a girlfriend shows up to watch her boyfriend play
Yeah.
football. So take it up with the media, choosing what they're showing you, just like they always choose what they show us. Let's not get
Yeah.
into that. Um, all mine are the same qualms that nothing jumps out to me that like I think anybody else would feel.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm really struggling. With this question. I live on a road. You've been to my house. Basically, you're in the city, and then there is an 8 to 10 mile stretch of county-ish road, and then the lake I live on in the community up here. So you have this like 8 mile stretch of road. It's a winding 55-mile-an-hour 2-lane highway. And it doesn't matter what time of day, it doesn't matter whether it's a 55-mile-an-hour highway, and inevitably somebody is going 37 miles an hour, and you ultimately catch them, and you ultimately are stuck. And it happens every day on my way in, on my way back. And I don't know what to do about it, but anger is building inside of me every time I drive that road. And so the opinion is if you can at least drive the speed limit, the cops should be pulling you over. Get out of here. Stay home or get an Uber. I'm sick of going behind Granny or somebody who doesn't know how to drive running 43 miles an hour in a 55. You should be getting pulled over.
Okay.
You're the problem, not me going 8 over.
I
That's
cannot
my
wait
opinion.
until all cars are autonomous. Autonomous. All are
Yeah.
self-driving. Yes, the world will improve so much.
Till somebody hacks the system and then everybody crashes into each other. And it's a real bad day.
That'd still be less accidents than
Probably.
than what happens in a normal week.
So I get and see this is important in the grand scheme of things. You don't drive the speed limit, red lights turn on, you're getting pulled over. Big ticket, double the fine. Get off the road.
Okay,
Right.
along those lines then,
Yeah.
I don't believe that anything should be good for life. I don't think
Okay.
driver's license should be good for life. I don't think any elected position should be good for life. I don't think any qualification should be good for life, any certification. I think everything in life should be merit-based and must be retested. You must requalify on everything periodically.
What about an age? I can now smoke, I'm 18. I can now drink, I'm 21. Do you have to like what about things like that?
I honestly don't. My solution would be so different than it that I don't even care.
Okay.
Whatever, who cares? I think all things should be merit-based. I don't think there should be a minimum age for anything that requires proficiency or skill. If they're skilled enough to do it, do it.
Okay.
Because there's so many incompetent adults out there that I don't think we should have a minimum age. If you can prove competent, do it until you're
I
proved
agree with that.
incompetent. And that includes things like lifelong appointments at companies or politically or anything like that.
What do you think about
Everything should be requalified.
What about grandfathered rates? Still paying $15 a month at my gym that I signed up for 30 years ago.
Great.
We need to get rid of that. No, for the company's sake.
The companies are the ones who made that.
I agree. It's a terrible business decision. All right, you ready for the next one?
I think people should be allowed to be separated from their money if that's what they desire.
All right, next question.
Yes.
Oh God, I can come up with a couple really cliche answers to this one. If you lost all of your possessions but one, what would you want it to be?
Oh, I hate this answer.
My
I
health,
No,
my wife,
those aren't possessions.
my alpha flies.
That's a possession. Lump that in with wife. I hate that this is my answer, but it's my cell phone. Because it would be the single most useful thing for me to retain possession of. I could use that cell phone to get everything else taken care of and replace any possession, but I couldn't use my alpha flies to get a new phone.
What about your house?
Well, yeah, I suppose the house.
We're thinking more piddly things, more
Yeah.
small item things.
Yeah. I mean, if we're talking catastrophic, roof over the head is the number one thing for a family, obviously. I would take that. But if just like possessions, it would have to be, I would take a phone over a vehicle.
It's a really logical answer.
But I hate that answer. I don't want a smartphone in the first place. And yet it's the one thing I can't go without.
Okay. Number of things are going through my head right now. I don't know if I want to take this question seriously or not.
Do you know I wouldn't even choose alphas?
I know I didn't know that. What would you choose?
Even if it was down to like specifically, I lost all but one road shoe and one trail shoe and one track shoe, I still wouldn't choose alphas.
What would you choose?
I don't know. It'd have to be something not plated.
Huh.
I would still,
choose alphas.
if I only had one option, I'd still take an unplated shoe.
Okay.
But I'd be slower than you. That's for sure.
My pillow.
Your pillow.
That pillow goes everywhere. I got to have the right pillow. I mean, we go on a trip, room for the pillow, even if that means sacrificing something else of equal size. That pillow, it took me years to find the next good pillow after the one had bit the dust, the last one. It's one of world's more difficult tasks. And that thing is broken in just perfectly. And a good night's sleep can't be beat. I can figure out world's problems if I get the right night's sleep. And you can put that pillow on a sofa or on the right bed, but that pillow, it comes with me everywhere. My pillow.
Lisa travels with a pillow.
So Lisa gets it.
Yeah. I could adapt to a bad pillow.
You can?
I could adapt. I mean, over time, eventually you get tired enough, you can sleep. And then you get, I believe you can get used to anything, but up front, it would be miserable. I'd still take the phone over the pillow.
My nightmare is like traveling for a race and forgetting my pillow and then having like some big, bulky, awful hotel pillow. And then, nightmare stuff right there, not sleeping.
All right. So I've had bad night's sleep before races, but the weirdest and one of the worst was before City Field one year for Spartan race. And I slept with, that's a weird statement. I slept with a buddy of mine, Jeremy, at Alexander Nicholas's gym in Manhattan, maybe.
Okay.
The night before, he's like, "It's fine. We can stay here like for free, and it's only a couple miles from the venue. It'll be great." It was so cold in that gym at night. We slept on the mats of like the cardio center, and my pillow was a rec bag. He's like, "You definitely want the 35, not the 70. The 70 is more cushion, but it puts your head at a weird angle." Or whatever weight, 50. I think it goes up to 50. And I was so cold. And I would get in a position and I'd have to shift every 5 minutes. But every time I shifted, I lose all the body heat I had trapped. So I would have done awful things for a good pillow at that point.
How'd you race the next day?
I mean, it was stadium races back in the day. It didn't matter.
You were so dialed.
Yeah. And I was living in Colorado at the time. So I was coming down from altitude and fit. And
so you won.
I did. But then we got snowed in. That was part of the bad night was they started canceling all the flights into and out of Denver. It wasn't New York that was the problem. It was Denver. And so we were up until like 2 trying to figure out a way to get home after because I had been doing that fly out right after awards thing. I was looking into Arizona and rent a car and drive up, but the mountain passes were getting bad. And I ended up stuck there for 2 or 3 days. And I stayed at Kevin Donahue's lake house. So it was this whole like fiasco of a weekend, but it started with sleeping with a rec bag as my pillow on a gym floor.
Okay. Well,
That's when you know you're not making a lot of money as an athlete, when you're willing to sacrifice your night of sleep to save on a hotel cost,
yeah, especially as an athlete.
especially as an athlete.
Yeah. Lean times. All
Mhm.
right. So a pillow and a phone.
Yeah.
My answer's dumb, but I'm sticking to it. All right.
There are a lot of people that are cheering with you right now.
I don't think a lot. I think everybody's like, yeah, Bracken's logic is 10 out of 10.
Logic
All right.
doesn't help at 1 a.m. with a crick in your neck.
Some would say you could use your phone to buy the new pillow, whatever. All right. What's your go-to dance move?
I don't dance, Kirk. If
Ever?
Lisa could change one thing about me, it'd probably be that I was like a dancer at weddings. But it just does nothing for me. It's not fun for me. Like I'll dance with our kids at the house when they're listening to whatever they're listening to. And that's about the extent of it. I have no interest in it.
I don't enjoy dancing at all. I think like white boy Midwestern, I don't know, middle class guy is not like in the wheelhouse for like growing up
Yeah.
dancing. At
And
least in
it's
my circle.
and you always, this is one of those things in social settings where people are like, come on, it'll be fun. And it's like, no, I don't invite you out to go run intervals with me. That wouldn't be fun for you. This is not fun for me. It's not that I can't. Like, I'm a coordinated person with some sense of rhythm. It's not that I can't dance. It's that I have no desire to dance. It's unpleasant for me. So respect that. I don't force you to eat the chicken off my plate when you're a vegetarian. Don't force me to do the cha-cha slide when I don't want to be sliding any cha-cha here. Just leave me
Exact
alone.
same moral compass comparative right there.
They're both decisions.
I This is something I feel like I've observed over the years. And so now I just use this as like a general rule of thumb.
Mhm.
Like if you're at a wedding or you're out, which I'm never out at like bars or places like that anymore, rarely. Like this applies to men specifically.
Mhm.
I firmly believe like the better the male is at dancing or the more that person enjoys dancing or is out on the floor dancing, the more questionable his character and integrity is.
I didn't know where you're going with this.
If
And
you like the biggest snakes I know are the ones out there that can move like they got no bones and they just thrive on that sort of attention and they gotta do it and they want the circle around them and they just love it and eat it up. Snakes, questionable character, bad human beings. So I think the better the dancer, the worse person you are. So that's why I think you're grade A human being, Bracken.
this was cathartic for me. And I want to be clear, I'm the opposite of Kirk. I don't judge people for
Oh,
the things
right.
they enjoy. If you want to
Uh-huh.
dance, go dance. That's
I'm
great.
not
Just don't force it
judging
on
them. I'm
me.
saying I've seen some parallels over the years.
Well, then you would know, right? You lived in the limelight for a while. You
A
did
lot
the
of it's
club
based
thing.
on that. A lot
Yeah.
of it is based on that. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are some people that are just passionate dancers. John Yatsko is not happy with you right now
There's somebody out there who loves dancing and drives under the speed limit all the time.
and
And
loves
right
dogs.
and right now literally has my face on a dartboard.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Well, Yatsko was a competitive either salsa or tango dancer. So, and I would say I don't question his morals. So
I
you
think I'm talking like sweaty, drunk dance floor dancing.
okay.
If
People
it's
who
an
are out there to put on a show.
yes, that's the type. All right, let's move on.
I
Who's
just
your
feel
favorite?
unfollows happening.
Nah. They say if you're thinking something and you say it, a good chance that the majority of those around you are thinking it too. So we'll go with that.
Yeah,
Uh,
okay.
who is your favorite teacher and why?
My favorite teacher would be Mary Lucy. And I only call her Mary Lucy because she became a family friend. She would be Miss Lucy to anyone else. She was my first grade teacher. She was everyone's first grade teacher in my family. And then she became kind of like an aunt to us. And she was just a fantastic human being. But she was like, we all had Mrs. Runnels as a kindergarten teacher, and it was great. But our first memory of actual education was Miss Lucy. Mary Lucy died a few years ago, and it was tough for thousands of people in our area because she was everyone's first grade teacher.
Mm. What did you like about her? What are the things that stand out?
Like if you looked up just like a motherly soul, that would be her. She had patience. She enjoyed the act of you learning, and she knew how to give people the space to grow. First graders are a crazy bunch, and she didn't rule with an iron fist, but she had expectations, but she met people where they were at and fostered growth. And you just knew that she cared.
As a 7-year-old, you knew this.
Well, this is also me knowing her for then the next 30 years of
Yeah.
my life.
Yeah, that's fair. What an
And
impact.
yeah, and then turning sad again, she succumbed to dementia. And that was a very difficult process to watch someone who only was in the business of growing hearts and minds start losing recollection and
Mm.
and the memories of everyone she had affected. And that was difficult to see.
Well, that's a to
It's a
think that
downer.
somebody. Well, no, it's not I mean, it happens to everybody, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, but just to know that goes that far back, like it's a good starting place for a student to get that sort of draw,
Yeah.
right? Have that teacher. Mine would be Mr. Van Leeshout, 5th grade. He started helping me build my confidence, I think. Really came out of my shell somewhere. I was a real shy kid.
Okay.
Real shy. I'd even go to family functions and like turn red walking in the room
Mm-hmm.
because just I felt shy and awkward often. And I just remember sort of coming out of my shell, and he was part of that. And Mr. Van Leeshout, all subjects, 5th grade. I think we traveled for like one or two things into different teachers' rooms at that age, but largely it was you had your one teacher.
Yeah.
And he refused to call anybody in the class by their real name. So whatever he thought of when he first saw your name on day one, you're no longer Kirk, you're Corky. I was Corky all fifth
Okay.
grade, and all my stuff and everything, I was Corky, which was a little weird for me because there was a show. Do you remember the show Life Goes On?
No.
Well, it was a popular like Friday evening show, and that's what you did. You sat down and watched TV like on Friday night with the family. Like you remember that? Like
We
TGIF?
didn't get a lot of TV time in my family.
Okay. Well, I don't have any now, but we had it then. There was a show called Life Goes On, and it was like this endearing family story. And one of the main characters was Corky, but he had Down syndrome.
Hmm.
And he was like sort of, kids that are kids poking fun at, people that are different than them. And so I got the name Corky, which always like I got crap for, but
Hmm.
ultimately, I really embraced the name Corky. So Corky, and he would take us outside, and no matter who you were, we would play football every single day. He was the quarterback. During recess, he would take us out or for an extra 30 minutes so we could like focus, and he distributed the ball all the time, and he patted you on the back, and he fist bumped you, and he made you feel like he really cared. He's like kind of dad at school.
Hmm.
Just remember those things. Corky.
Mr. Leichenbaum.
Who's that?
I don't know. What'd you say his name was?
Van Leeshout.
Van Leeshout.
Yeah, good guy. All right. What's your earliest memory?
My earliest memory is crawling under the table in our dining room, chasing around a blue, like inflated ball.
How old were you?
I don't know. It was before kindergarten. And I have several of those, but that one I think is the earliest back. I could have been 2 or 3, and so I question some of these memories, but that's what I think is my earliest memory.
You said a blue balloon ball under
No,
the
it was more
table?
like one of those, like if you go into a grocery store, a Target or something, and there's that wire rack of like inflated, like not 4 square balls, but lighter than that, in between a balloon and a ball. Doing a
Yeah.
terrible job explaining it, but one of those.
Hmm. Nothing else, just like a quick snapshot of you sort
Yeah.
of.
Yeah. But everything else that I can think of my youth, I can date past that. That's my oldest memory.
Hmm.
It's not exciting.
I have 2, and both are like involve trauma, I think. Like those are like they stick out. Not like serious trauma. No,
Okay.
like I don't know, 5 maybe? Does that sound about an appropriate age to have, like, real long-term memories?
I think so. I mean,
Huh.
I'm claiming I might have one from when I was 2 or 3, so
But 5 seems maybe late? Was that maybe a late? I
no,
think I was what?
I think Lisa doesn't remember anything before, like, 7 or 8.
In this we had this above ground pool in our backyard, like a 3-foot, 4-foot
Mhm,
pool. Um, and I had to be 5-ish. And in the summer, it would be like a treat. Like my mom would let me and my sister go like shower in the pool or bathe in the pool, and we'd run out there naked in the summer night.
mhm.
And this neighbor girl, Stacy, who had to be in high school, I remember noticing Stacy, like Stacy, like for some reason, like to look at Stacy. Anyways, stop by while me and my sister were naked bathing in the pool, and my mom made me get out and like dry us off. And I remember being like kind of horrified.
Yeah.
And and I remember that being one of like one of my first memories. And the other one is in the same backyard within the same time frame. Me and my neighbor friend were jumping and seeing how far away from the swing set we could jump and grab the bar.
Mm.
And I pressed it a little too much and just got my fingertips on the bar, and it swung me up, and I landed flat on my back and knocked the wind out of myself, and it was traumatizing. And that day stands out. It's right. They're both right in the same
Okay.
time frame. So, they're innocent trauma, but like it's
Yeah.
just like those stand out to me.
So I have a memory of the swing set thing
Yeah.
that not everyone around me in my family that was there believes or remembers the same way, but my cousin and I both we had a 3-tiered uh like chin up bar. Like it wasn't a monkey bar, but it was just like a standalone, like you'd see at one of a fitness center in a park. We
Mm.
had a 3-tier. It was like 4 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet off the ground. We both jumped for them and both got stung under both stung in both armpits at the same time by bees as we jumped to the bar. And I have
Yikes.
a vivid memory of this and them rubbing mud in our armpits and us crying, and people are claiming that one of us might have got stung, and no one got stung under both armpits, but I got stung under both armpits. And I remember she got stung in at least an armpit, if not both, and people don't believe this.
What's your earliest athletic memory?
I've a lot of gymnastics, and gymnastics started young, so I don't know what age that would have been, but gymnastics and soccer, so minimum 3rd grade, if not earlier. I remember my first T-ball game. So what would that have been? 4?
You had some good young memories.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my mind is a memory-based mind. There are certain things it does not work well at. Math is one of them, but like most memories are seared like very vividly into my mind. But I could
Like
probably
anything
walk you through
specific with those
my
memories?
first at bat as a T-baller. I hit a home run, but I'm old enough to remember looking back on the memory that it was one of those that like should have been a single and they just kept throwing the ball around. And I didn't realize it at the time, but replaying the memory back, I know it. I'm not saying I have a photographic memory, but like there's little pieces of memories that work like that for me.
You're sort of like Rain Man.
Ah, if only he was great at math.
He really it's true, he was. Hmm. Are you ready for the next question?
Yeah. Hopefully we can twist it towards running.
Well, I asked you about your athletic memory. I tried.
Running started later than every other sport for me.
Hmm. Favorite city?
Hmm.
West Dallas?
It's grown on me.
Yeah.
But there is a city, La Seu in Spain, where my sister played basketball for a few years, and we went over there one Christmas. And so it's one of those things that I can't accurately judge the city, but it was my favorite city I've ever been in.
This was
It
in
was,
recent years.
this is probably 4 years ago.
We were doing the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just like the most quaint, idyllic European town. It was nestled in the valley of the mountains, and we were there over the New Year, and there was snow, but it was warm enough to just like we were on a different time zone. Lisa and I would just go for a walk sometime at like midnight through this town, and there's lights strung up over all the seats, and the streets, they're cobblestone streets, and those alleys that are roads, but they're alleys, but there's sometimes shop fronts in it. And it was just like it was like you're in a snow globe. And that's how the whole town felt always. And it was just like lost in time there. It would be on a movie set. That's how the town was for me. So La Seu in Spain was just my favorite town I've ever visited. There were only two downsides to it, and that's that there was dog poop everywhere and people smoked everywhere. And if you could take those two things out of it, it was like a storybook.
It was real frozen there, right? Like there were like ice roads on the water.
That's
Were
actually
they?
Sweden. That's in Luleå, where we are going in 12 days. Yeah,
Okay.
they make an ice road across the lake in winter, and they go to work across it on their
Yeah.
little
Okay.
skates and whatever.
That might be the city I was thinking of that you were going to say.
Yeah,
So,
different city. This was actually warmer.
um, it's more sounds like more like a town or a village.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to leave big cities out of it because I don't really enjoy them.
Right.
Yeah, as much. I'm a really big fan of the Canmore Banff region. Yeah, not too far outside of Calgary. Big fan of Calgary too. I think that if it's a big city, it's very tolerable as well as Vancouver. But I'm drawn to Canada. North generally draws me in, but I'm going to say the Canmore Banff region. Amazing trail systems, a plethora of outdoor activities, still all the amenities life requires if you so choose to want them, and just the mountains. It's a great spot.
Good answer.
Yeah. Oh,
Neither of us chose United States cities. What's your favorite U.S. city? I know you're not a big city guy, and I'm not either, but of the big cities, where would you go for a day or a weekend?
like like an actual populated city.
Yeah.
Huh.
So otherwise, we would just choose a remote city that had great nature every time. But that's not the question I'm asking.
I don't know if I have enough case studies to confidently answer that question. So let's go with Seattle.
It's a good answer.
There's a good access to, again, things outside of the city. Yet the city is still
I can
like
get to the trails quick.
but the city is still like there's some charm and it's pretty spread out and it's not cookie cutter manufactured buildings everywhere. It's got some character. And so anyway, we'll go with Seattle. What about you?
I mean, it's cliche, but I would just choose New York City because there's nothing like it. And you can move over a few neighborhoods and it's another different world. So that'd be what I choose. Otherwise, I think San Diego is delightful.
It is nice. That was one that crossed my mind.
Okay.
I feel the same way about New York City and Las Vegas. Like I'm always as excited to leave as I am to get there and vice versa. Yeah. Can't wait to get there. Can't wait to get out of there.
My last day in New York City, I stayed in Chinatown and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Again, just like the rest of New York City, I couldn't stay there long, but it was entirely worth my time there.
What's the story behind one of your scars?
Okay, so I have a scar on my chest.
Oh.
And it came from in between my freshman and sophomore year of college. I was working for Lutheran Social Services on their maintenance and groundskeeping team, which was a made up role for me. My non-blood uncle was CFO or CEO of the company, something like that. And they needed summer help. And I'd done that for 2 years. In the third year, they gave me autonomy and I was allowed to hire on one employee. And we were in charge of all the outside maintenance of their 32 properties. And so I hired my friend and we spent all summer 10 hours a day, 4.5 days a week, usually 4 days a week, just outside. It was fantastic. But one day we tried weed whacker jousting on the lawnmowers because we were 19-year-old idiots. And I have a scar on my chest from that.
From the weed whacker string hitting you?
Yeah, it's like a burn.
Oh my gosh.
Rip type of scar. It's not.
Did it slice you open?
It was more like a burn. But yeah, I mean, it's a weed whacker can cut you.
So you got whacked with a weed whacker.
Yep.
You guys not only jousted with the weed whacker as the joust, but then you made sure it was running while jousting.
Yeah, by like the second or third run, we revved it up.
You deserve that one.
Yeah, yeah. I'm I'm a bit of an idiot, and the younger I was, the more of an idiot I was, and that's a scar I have.
What about the emotional scar of pooping your dad's pants? Does that count?
It was the holding the secret in that was just
Mm,
as hard.
that's fair. Uh,
For
I'm
people
not.
that didn't listen to that episode, that's going to be a weird, random thing to say.
It really is. It's a good story.
I was wearing the pants, to be clear. He wasn't. I didn't poop the
Uh,
pants he was wearing.
You've told that story a couple of times, and every time I hear it, it just makes me so happy.
It's unique. Not many people have the details of that story.
So I'm not terribly accident prone, luckily. Uh, I have not had any surgeries. You could have said one of your many scars from surgery. I
There's no
don't have
good
any.
stories behind my surgeries.
Well, I'm just saying, like you have scars. I
Mhm.
don't have many, luckily, and I better touch wood. But I got one on my kneecap. I guess we'll go with that one. Which just riding my trick bike, my my dyno.
Mhm.
Does that sound right? With the
Oh
pegs
yeah.
on it, yeah, with the gyro, I think you called it, handlebars that could spin 360. You remember those?
Oh yeah.
I
Internally routed cables.
had to really beg my mom for that for years until I
Mm.
got that thing. But playing around on the trails by my house and jumped, landed weird, and there was a nut on the hold on the front of the handlebars, an
Mm.
octagon shape, and my kneecap smacked that thing. And I still to this day think that may have been the most painful moment of my life still. And I cracked or bruised my kneecap and it dug into there real good. And I got a scar on my kneecap from that. So let's go with it. And if you look at my back, and I bet if you look at your back, the number of barbed wire scars I
Yeah.
have on my back, I have maybe half a dozen of them from barbed wire and Spartan races. Do you?
I probably only have 2 or 3 on my back because very quickly I switched to racing in a compression top.
Mm.
So I have most of mine on my shoulders because I'd use a sleeveless compression top because I'd just get too hot. But my back's not. I mean, there are a few, but they were from like all year 1 or 2.
And I'm not a roller. I was a crawler. Rolling in me didn't
Oh
really
yeah,
work. So that you always got the brunt of that.
yeah. Well, I know you were cooler than me as a kid because you had a dyno. I
I
had
trust.
a rusty secondhand mongoose
Ooh, I had a
with
mongoose before the dyno.
Yeah, that's where you start. And I had mismatched pegs on the back, one skinny, one fat.
Are those still a thing? Like if you go look at, I don't know, 10-year-olds, are they running around in those trick bikes?
Not doing enough looking at 10-year-olds. I see. I'm gonna have to
I
let
feel
you
like
know.
that era is, I feel like I see a lot of like mountain bike riding kids these
There's
days,
still
but
we have a skate park near our home, and there's still a lot of biking, skating, but way more scootering than I thought would have ever been socially acceptable is happening.
that's a good point. What fictional place would you most like to go to?
Ooh,
You really like this one, huh?
it's unique. Never been asked that.
You want to go to Morador?
No,
Me either.
no, I'd go to the Shire.
The Shire does look lovely,
Be
actually. That would
great
be
running.
green and lush.
Yeah. Fictional place would I go?
The Truman Show.
I would go to the lost city of Atlantis, Kirk.
Okay, what would you do there?
Just explore. Just putz around.
I'd go to Jurassic Park.
It's not a bad option.
I gotta know. I gotta see these things. See who's really faster, a Velociraptor or me. I have a feeling how that would end.
We know how that
If
ends.
you really could go back and hang with dinos, like weren't you obsessed with dinos as
For
like a
sure.
little boy?
Yeah, I guess I
Yeah.
was thinking just like a stationary place. I didn't know there was interaction. Um, yeah,
Well, of
Jurassic
course
Park
there's
would be hard.
hard to beat.
Yeah. I'd probably go to Jurassic World. That seemed like a higher survival rate and modern amenities. It wasn't raining the whole time.
That's fair. But I mean, knowing you'd come back as your, healthy,
Yeah.
alive self, I think
Okay.
that would be a trip.
Yeah. How do you turn down the chance to see dinosaurs?
It'd be hard not to.
Mhm.
Avatar, that'd be different. All right, this is a dumb question, but we'll just rip off pancakes or waffles.
Pancakes.
Waffles. What's the matter with you?
We had pancakes every Saturday morning growing up after we finished our chores around the house.
Mm. Do you do that for your kids?
We just started making pancakes again probably 3 weeks ago. Actually,
Okay,
Valentine's Day. We had breakfast for dinner for Valentine's Day. And it was the
that's
first
funny.
time I made pancakes in years. We switched over to a to a cast iron skillet when we moved to this home. And the first time I made pancakes on it, they stuck so terribly. I haven't tried since. And
Mm.
I think it was just unseasoned and broken in. And so I did it again, and it was a dream.
So
So now I'm
pancakes,
back to pancakes. My mom, though,
waffles.
next door, they make waffles from time to time. They call them Crocker's Awful's Waffles. That's what the kids call them. Crocker's Awful Waffles.
Why are they awful?
Because it rhymes with a waffle.
Okay, they're actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Hmm. Waffles, it's a texture thing. There's little butter and syrup cups throughout. You
Yes,
can
there
get
are.
the exact right distribution, nice crispy edge if you got a Belgian waffle maker. Uh, Sometimes a little peanut butter on it if you're feeling. It just sits there in a gooey mess. It's
Yeah.
wonderful.
I don't mind them, but I think you highlighted what my issue is. I'm from the texture standpoint. In almost all cases, I prefer soft to crispy.
Tacos.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there are crispy things I like, but then it must have a soft interior.
Okay.
And
We're
waffles
really
are
getting to know
hard
each
to get it
other,
right.
and I do agree with that. They can be overdone or underdone. If they're overdone, they're ruined.
Right.
So it's a good point.
Like I like my bakery desserts, to go back to sweets, to be slightly underbaked. I like a gooey dessert more than a crispy exterior.
These questions, I feel like, I don't know. They're leaving something to be desired at this point, but we'll see if we get a good one. Okay.
Okay.
What is one of your favorite smells?
Ooh, I'm going to agree with Lisa on this. She just said this. I ran with her for the first time the other day, and it was the morning of the wake and funeral I went to. And so we just decided to go for a run together. Those type of things are just difficult on her with her past. And the smell of laundry coming out of people's vent out of their homes during a run, especially a cold run. So winter or summer night laundry smell while running. She brought it up, and I fully agree with her.
The laundry vent smell.
Yes. The
Huh.
laundry detergent smell coming out of the vent in the cold. Delightful.
Do you guys still have air fresheners throughout your house?
No, those weren't even ours. That's when we were living in a duplex, and they had a stash there, and we had them. We've
Oh.
never had them before or after that,
Oh.
because Lisa's actually sensitive to smell. In fact, when she goes to her parents' house, the first thing she does is unplug or turn off the air fresheners.
Well,
So it's
I'm pretty.
ironic that happened with you, because honestly, if you had picked any point in our timeline and put your finger on it, there wouldn't have been an air freshener except for right then. I think we had like some sort of water damage or something right prior to that, and there was just a little bit of an odor.
You had air fresheners plugged all over your house. Yeah, I just remember it was very strong.
Yeah.
All right. That's a good answer. I like that answer.
Thank you.
A good answer.
What about you? Favorite smell?
If it comes to food, like savory smells, like can be misinterpreted. Let's say you don't know if it's like good or bad.
Mm.
Sometimes I feel like, but we have a bakery down like we almost share a wall. The gym I partner with the bakery, Willette's, and um, the smell that comes out of that place is it just hits right. Like you could once in a while, let's say you walk into an office building or even at the gym I'm at, and somebody decides it's lunchtime and they make something savory and the gym smells like their lunch. That is ugh, like I don't want to work out with that. But somebody walks
Gotcha.
in with donuts, it hits right every time. It doesn't matter where you're at or what you're doing. And so I think Fresh Bakery, and there's a place that stands out to me.
Okay.
And then the smell of fall in the leaves, in particular after a rain. Let's call it 40 degrees. That crisp, but like earthy smell,
Mhm.
but in the fall. Um, it's nostalgic. So that smell in particular.
All right. So I have two more I do that are important to me to share, Kirk. I can't leave them off the table. The first is we live very close to a barbecue place, and they are always smoking their meat or doing something in the back. Generally, it's smoking, and it's just a great smell. Food on the grill or the smoker is really good. But this is going to get very hippie and tree huggery of me. Summer rain when the rain's done.
Yeah.
That one. Put that right up there with laundry while running.
It also smells like worms a little bit.
Yeah, I'm thinking more of like pavement, the evaporation off the pavement.
Okay. I know what you mean. Especially like even maybe if the sun hits it, but it's still wet and it has this like
Yeah, immediately. I'm
steamy
not talking the next day where it's a wormy smell.
Okay, no. Yeah, that's a good smell. We got the incredibly strong opinion that is an important question again.
Uh, have we hit the end of their generator? We don't have much time
No,
here.
no, this is I have I have two Q&A questions actually that I think would be right now top of mind for people. That's kind of gnawing at me.
Well, we started
But
with some non AMA. Let's end with some.
okay. I mean the next question was what's something you wish you'd figured out sooner? What's one of the best
Hmm,
things you got from one of your parents? When people come to you for help, what do they usually want help with? There's some pretty good ones.
they are. Let's go to the two questions. Let's
Okay.
wrap.
So, I feel like that's run its course. Um, we've been seeing this a lot on indoor track, and an athlete I'm working with, Troy, asked me this question. I said, "It's a great question, Troy. I'm going to answer it and also save it for the podcast because I think other people are wondering." And so, top of mind, track running as of recent, indoor track. Hopefully, you all are consuming that content on Peacock or YouTube. It says, "So, I've been watching some races on indoor track, and I've got two questions. Why are pacers used at the beginning of a race? Question two, if 99% of the time the front runner in a race never wins, why do these folks take the lead of the pack?"
Mhm.
Now, I think these are more elementary questions, but they can be as complex as we want to make them. So, why are pacers used at the beginning of a race? And if 99% of the time the front runner doesn't win, why lead at all?
I like these questions. This
Hmm.
is exactly what you should be thinking about when you watch track for the first time or the
Yeah.
50th time. So I'm going to start with the pacing. Anyone who's ever run a time trial by themselves knows how distracting and draining it is to have to worry about what pace you're running. You're constantly checking in with it, and you end up thinking about more of the act of your stride to hit the pace and how much it's hurting. And you're constantly calculating, can I do this pace? And I need to move up a tenth, and I slow down half a tenth. It is it's a little bit draining. You lose little energy credits while trying to figure out your own pacing, even as simple as focusing as you come up your last 10 strides towards the clock and watching it, or listening for your coach and then doing the quick math and thinking, am I on pace or not? That all takes a small amount of energy. And when you're trying to run exceptionally fast, you are playing in the margins and you can't afford any energy loss. So if they want the fastest times, and what you're watching indoor are people are trying to get qualifying marks either for indoor worlds or for outdoor worlds. And so all they
Or
care about is time,
NCAA.
or NCAA. They're trying to get qualifying times, and the margins are slim there. And so the pacer's job is not really one of breaking the wind for them. There's not really a drafting effect that's happening much at that pace indoors. It's simply to just take all the distractions away, and you just put your head down and follow me. And all you have to worry about is hanging on. And you can run significantly most people, some are front runners, most people run significantly faster when you just shut your brain off and all you have to do is hang on.
Can any of you listening think of a time where you ran your best race and you thought your way through the entire thing? Or in your best race, did you almost go numb and it was nothing?
Yeah. You want to
What's
be
the answer?
autopilot.
Autopilot. Although one of my answers to him, I did talk about wind and even indoors, um, saying that Well, of course, indoors is a sterile environment. I don't agree. I agree with you in the sense that it's more beneficial outdoors, first of all,
Mhm.
because there's always, you never know. At some point, you're going to be running into the wind, most likely, unless it's the perfectly calm day. But you have to think in a 1500, geez, now in a 5K or a 3K, they're, they're running 15 miles an hour, which means even in sterile environment, you're getting hit in the face with a 15-mile-an-hour wind.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, you are. Kind of, yeah, you really are. So you have some resistance, and it does create a small slipstream vacuum. It happens at 25 miles an hour on the bike. Why wouldn't it happen at 15 miles an hour on the track? It's not one for one, but there is a benefit, and it may be small, but it may be a tenth of a second a lap. What's that worth?
Right.
A
I
lot.
can get behind that.
Yeah.
I
So I
won't
do
say
think,
it's a 15-mile-per-hour wind, but I will
but,
say there is an effect.
but you're getting hit with 15 miles an hour worth of wind resistance, aren't you?
I'm going to say no. I'm not a physics major. Someone will have to explain this to us.
I feel like that's how it would work. In completely stagnant air, you still have. I don't think I'm overthinking this. But anyways, the more important thing is turning your mind off and
Correct.
just being numb, knowing that's taken care of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other question is a good one as well. If the majority of the time the front runner doesn't win, why does anyone do it? One, there are just people that are not thinkers. Either that's because their nature or because the competition shuts their mind off. All the time we hear someone goes into a race with a plan, the gun goes off, and they went numb. It's
Mhm.
the other side of what Kirk was just talking about. Like going numb is your fastest way to hang on to someone, checking out entirely, but it's not your best way to run a tactical race. And so, all things being equal, if it's run at maximum capacity, the fastest person can go to the front and win. But if there's any amount of tactics, that person's at a pretty big disadvantage. So the reality is that people are either making bad decisions or they're forced into it. If you refuse to lead, whoever cut into the line at the line to the rail first is the de facto leader. And no matter how slow they go, if everyone else continues to stay slower, they are the leader. And the longer you let the race go, the more you play into the hands of the people with the exceptionally fast finish. And that's not everyone in the field. And everyone in the field knows who that person is. And so the people who finally decide, fine, I'll lead, knowing they can't win it, they're giving themselves a chance at something, knowing that if they do wait till the end, everyone's going to outsprint them. And so that's really what you see happening.
Well, somebody's got to lead. And a lot of times it happens by default. Suddenly the pack shuffles and you're in front.
Mm-hmm.
It slows and you maintain, and oh my God, I'm here. Like a lot of times in those pretty dense races, it's not by design. Early in the race, anyways. The leader's like, I don't want to be here, but I'm here. Like I guarantee that happens very often. And more than anything that we do, the uptick and downshift in pacing is in a lot of these races is, I mean, you can go from a 67 lap to a 63 to a 60 back to a 70 for like no apparent reason. And suddenly you were in last and now you're in first if you kept up the same trajectory of the last lap's pacing and vice
Mm-hmm.
versa. And so there is a bit of that, right? I think people find themselves in the lead as
Mm-hmm.
often as they choose to be. Would you say
Yeah,
that's fair?
I would say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then it's a decision. What do you do with that?
Do you pump the brakes and force somebody else to? What if they pump the brakes too?
Yeah.
Well, this is ridiculous. Now I'm going to like, and then the other thing, Troy, great question is, oftentimes in these races, like a lot of these aren't championship races that you're watching and the pace lingers. Somebody who's seated 10th says, I need to hit my standard or my qualifying time. And
Mm-hmm.
they know they're purposely the sacrificial lamb, but I can't dick around any longer because I'm not good enough to afford that. I haven't run as fast as I need
Mm-hmm.
to this year. I don't care about winning as much as I care about running fast for me. And
Yeah.
so if that means I am the sacrificial lamb dragging Jakob Ingebrigtsen around when I know he's going to beat me by 15 seconds in the 5K, so be it. I'm being selfish by taking the lead because I need to run fast today.
Yeah.
And so you see that a lot too.
That's a good point. And there's that final type of athlete who's only there to test themselves. And when it slows down, they go, listen, I'm not here to run slow. I don't care if I take first or last. I'm here to get the most out of my fitness right now. And I'm just going to stubbornly go for it. You guys can all sit on me and outkick me if you want. That's fine. I'm going to leave here with my head held high. And at that level, in each race, there's really only a few people capable or confident that they're there to win. Some people are there just to try to hang on and run well. Some people are there to practice tactics. Some people are there just to find out what they can do. And winning is not part of that equation. The pro level of running, there is a huge disparity in any field from first to last. And so you just wind up with people that have to lead because there's nothing else. And then the final piece I would say is that some people don't have another chance guaranteed at being accepted into a big race. And they know if they can have a hand in making it a successful race, they may get back to another one. And so if you're forced to lead, it's like, well, hey, I'm on TV. The sponsors are watching. I'm at least going to get some screen time and I'm going to run with guts and maybe they'll let me into the next one. So some people are paid to be there. Some people had to pull strings to get in. Some people were late additions when someone scratched, and others are just there to work hard or chase a time. So there's so much going on behind the scenes.
It's not as simple as that Neanderthal is taking the lead and he's going to lose because that's a terrible strategy. That's a tiniest fraction of when you see somebody in the lead.
But it does happen.
It does, but rare.
What race was I watching? Maybe it was one of the 5Ks. There was someone who covered every single move and kept sprinting up and leading and slow. And they were not there at the end. They just ran themselves right out of the race because they were just an idiot. And that does happen.
Was that a college race?
No, it was a pro race I was watching.
Oh, okay. Our time has come to an end. If you've been listening the last few weeks, I schedule my PT on this day, so I got to get to PT. I'm almost graduated, I've been told. So
okay, I have one last question for you, Kirk.
Yep.
So today is Thursday. We're recording. It'll come out Friday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. What do you have on the docket for workouts?
I need something simple tomorrow because I've been tired this week. I think it's catching up to me. So I'm going to do 5-2 uphill repeats, 5 minutes on, 2 minutes off. I'm going to allow myself to work into them. And then depending on how available I feel Saturday, I think I may just do a nice, steady, traditional long run on the roads. Very non-sexy stuff, to be honest. I plan on getting sexier and spicier the following 2 weeks when we're in Monterey, California. So that's the plan. What about you?
Well, we have weather coming our way, good weather, and I'm enacting what we talked about. So this weekend, I will be doing my first on the track mile paced workout.
Sweet.
And then the next day, a long run on the trails. And we're sloppy, so I'm going to have to head to a really rocky section and do that.
Yeah, and we just got 9 inches of snow yesterday, so it's going to be melt. I'm going to stay off the trails.
Yeah.
So otherwise I would do the same. But I got to go in like 30 seconds, but what's the mile pace workout you're going to do?
I'm actually just going to run 200s. I'm going to run 200 quick and slow jog the next 200 and go until it feels like it's time to be done and just see what that pace works out to and just try to stay relaxed and quick.
I bet you're going to run a lot of 32s. I bet you're going to end up running.
My guess is I would start at about 34.
Right. But you're going to work into 32s.
And I think it's going to leave really quickly.
Can't wait to hear more about it.
All right. Have a great weekend, everyone. We'll see you next time.